I'd like to welcome you to Skippy Lowe Looks at Hollywood. Skip's guests this week, honoring Hollywood's 100th, are Amelia Batchler, Columbia's logo lady, and one of Hollywood's first matinee idols, Francis Lederer. And now to the man of this half hour, Skippy Lowe.
This is Amelia Batchler. My God, Francis Lederer, look at this.
Yes.
This is the logo, Columbia logo lady. How are you, Amelia Batchler?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
My God, what is new and exciting in your life right now? Tell me.
Well, I'm in the toy business right now.
Oh, really?
Yes, Tyler Toys.
Uh-huh.
And my nephew is selling this Yuppie Bear.
Uh-huh.
And it's gone over very nicely. And Neiman Marcus are getting $70 for a
Yuppies.
Yuppie Bear.
Oh, can I show that later in the show about the
Yes.
Yuppie Bears? Can I?
Sure.
First, I want to get excited. Francis Lederer,
Yes.
do you those Columbia logo ladies?
Of course.
Remember? God, you've been around Hollywood for a long time, Francis Lederer.
Longer than you.
40 years?
Well, I've been since 34.
34.
Yes.
You came for
40, 50,
check,
60,
check.
70, yes, more.
50 years.
No, 60 years.
60 years.
That's right.
My Lord. Matinee Idol. How? Tell me about the Matinee Idol. You remember him?
Sure.
Matinee Idol. Come
He
on.
just tries to be polite, huh?
Now, tell me about that, Diz.
About what?
Your Matinee Idol days.
Well, I tell you always, when I heard that term the first time, I didn't know what it meant.
Uh-huh.
No. I know something you did in a restroom or something, matinee idol.
Uh-huh.
No,
But you came from Czech.
Czechoslovakia,
Yes, uh-huh.
yeah.
What year? It was a long time ago.
I came to Hollywood,
Yeah.
1934.
But you were a star then.
Well, long before that.
Yes. Theater.
Theater and pictures
And
in
pictures
Europe, of course.
in
yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
Tell me about your life right now. I
My
understand
life
your
right now?
life.
I couldn't begin to tell you, you don't have that much time. I wish, of course, that my life was 15-fold. I'm so terribly busy, I don't know what to do in order to come up to all my obligations.
But you two keep busy, both of you people. I mean, you've both been around Hollywood. Amelia Batchler, how many years you been around here?
Well, I'm 71 now, and I
71.
came here when I was 18,
Uh-huh.
and I was from Texas.
You're a Texas girl.
All the way, Lone
Uh-huh.
Star State.
Uh-huh. But how did you become the Lolo? How did the Columbia Pictures chose you?
Well, I was in stock at Columbia, and two other girls, and Lucille Ball. But Lucille Ball had a different contract than the other two girls and I. We got $75 a week, and I imagine she got about 100 or 125.
That's a lot of money those
Well,
days.
it wasn't very much, but Harry Cohn run the whole studio, and he worked us to death. And he came, I think I was doing a telephone operator that day, and he came down and he says, he says, when you finish with this job here, he says, go up to the wardrobe and get a dress that they have there for you, and there's an Italian up there that's going to make a painting of you.
Uh-huh.
And so I went up to the wardrobe, and they gave me a dress and this piece of black velvet.
Yes. Was this black? Is this black velvet?
This is it.
Uh-huh.
Yes, this is it.
Uh-huh.
I posed for it for 3 days in a fitting room,
Uh-huh.
about, it was about 10 by 10, and we had no windows, and all we had was a bucket of ice and a little fan and a Coca-Colas to drink,
Uh-huh.
and it was so hot, and I really didn't think it would be 3 days' work, painting, but it was a big canvas and beautiful. This artist was very, very good, but he was quite slow, very meticulous, and he spoke very little English, and my arm got so tired, from holding it up like this, so I complained.
Was it a heavy torch?
No, it wasn't heavy. It's just the fact of holding your arm up like this all night. So we called a prop man, and he hung the torch from a wire. Then I just
You just held your hand up there.
Then I just hung onto the torch.
Oh, I see.
And but he wanted me to pose that way, and with the velvet around me, it was very the heat was just terrible. And I don't know whatever happened to the painting.
What was the first picture? What was the first picture with this logo? What was the motion picture? What was the first?
This is it.
No, what
I
picture?
don't know when they started using it.
That's what I mean.
But I used to go to theaters and see it in black and white, and when I would tell people that I posed for that, you know, this is so what? They didn't think much of it.
Didn't mean anything at those days.
But now I've had letters from Mr. Putnam is now head of Columbia.
Yes, he is.
And he's very, very interested in doing something with me.
To redo it again?
No, I've done that with several people, but after all, I can't look like I look then. It's quite disappointing to me. And
Tell me about Lou Cone, your days. Did you know Lou Cone? Am I asking the
mean
right man?
Harry?
Am I asking the right man sitting next to you about
Cone?
Harry Cone? Francis Lederer.
Well, you asked her first.
I know. I'm gonna
was
ask
he
you-
an awful man?
Was he an awful man?
Oh, terrible. One time, he came down on the set, and he had, it was a fire trap, the studio was. It was all wood and everything. So he came down to Lionel Barrymore, and Lionel Barrymore's really had dropped down a notch, you know, to work at Columbia because it was a B studio then. And
Was that considered a B studio, Columbia, those days? Yeah.
oh yes,
Yes,
it was a crummy studio.
What was the main studio those days? Warner Brothers and MGM?
MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount.
I see.
And so he, instead of being real nice, you know, there were signs all over it says no smoking on the sets. Well, Lionel Barrymore was smoking. So he came over and he said, instead of going real nice, say, look, Mr. Barrymore, please don't smoke on the sets because this place is a fire trap. But instead he came over and he said, look, he says, can't you see those signs over there? He says, no, there's no smoking allowed on the sets. He said, if you want to smoke, go to your dressing room. So and Lionel Barrymore graciously said, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Cone. He says, please excuse me. He says, I just didn't see the signs. So when he says, I shall go to my dressing room and smoke. And Lionel Barrymore went to his dressing room and stayed for 2.5 hours, and they lost so much money.
What happened between Harry Cone and Francis Lederer?
Well, this young lady said that he was an awful man. There's a Latin saying that says, de mortuis nil nisi bene. That means about the dead, you shouldn't say anything about the good.
Yes.
Well, but I've been brought up to tell the truth.
Yes, of course.
So I tell you, he was really what you would call an awful man. My first encounter with him was, I was at a party on a Sunday afternoon. I was sitting on a couch next to other people, and he came in, I've never seen him, says, you GED son of a bitch. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, but this stupid ass, Frank Capra, wants you for his next picture, so I have to take you.
What was that? What was that?
It was Chopin. But of course, then Capra left before the picture started. And so the picture was shelved, and then afterwards, Cornel Wilde did it. Much later, much later.
Because there was a big thing between you and Cone years ago. That's what they were talking. That's the true story between you and Harry Cone.
Absolutely, absolutely,
I see.
yes.
But Mitch,
Well, you know when Frank Capra came there in Clark Gable, that's when I first met Clark Gable, was when he made Happen One Night.
with Claudia Colbert.
And when Frank Capra was making Happen One Night, he wouldn't allow Harry Cone to come on his set.
He wouldn't.
He was barred from the set.
Clark Gable was a tough man, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. Oh, very
You knew him
wonderful.
very, very well, didn't you?
Very, very well. I worked with him for many, many years. And
What movie were you in with Clark? You did the Boom, something about Boom
Huh?
with Spencer Tracy and Clark Gable. Did you work that movie with Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy? Boomtown, was it?
Oh, I've
Was
worked
it?
with Spencer Tracy. I didn't care much for him, but I loved Clark Gable. He was so sweet and so nice. You know, Carol Lombard and I used to model together.
You started with her.
Well, we did everything in those days. We worked, oh gosh, we did stand-in, extra work and everything, but
Uh-huh.
Carol got a good break at Paramount.
So you met Carol before she was a big
Oh,
star.
we used to model together.
Together.
And I used to model shoes because I only wore 4.5B, but she couldn't model the shoes. But it's a strange thing. One time, when Carol was killed in the plane
plane
with her
crash.
mother, when it hit the mountains over near Pasadena,
Yes.
well, a strange thing how coincidence happened. I was doubling for May Clark in an auto chase that day, over in the, oh, I think they call it Pacoima now. It's way over in the west part of the valley. It was all country like then,
Yes.
you know, subdivisions that didn't grow. And, you know, Clark Gable came over, and he just came down from the hill where they were bringing Carol's body down. And you know how actors are, if they see somebody shooting, they'll stop to see what they're doing. So he stopped to see what we were doing.
Yes.
And he had Carol's purse with him.
Ah.
And he and I had heard about it on the news in the morning, you know, and while I was making up. And he said, he and I both cried together, and he says, Amelia, you and Carol were such good friends. He says, here's her purse. He says, I want you to take something from it to remember her by.
He gave her the purse.
And I said, so I looked in her purse. It was quite a large purse. And I said, Carol, Clark, I don't need anything to remember you and Caroline. And so I took the compact and her lipstick. I felt that was the most personal thing that she
And
probably
this is the
given.
compact I'm holding now.
And this compact, he
it's-
was
may
so
I give it to you?
he was so happy that I took it because he said that he had given that to Carol as a going away present.
Oh.
And it's all gold plated, and I've had it all these years, and I will never, never let go of it.
So you have some wonderful memories.
Oh yes, and then I worked with Clark on Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Yes, I was a neighbor to Mr. Selling, and I cooperated with him on that picture.
You did a lot of movies, directed and coached.
Yes,
You're a coach?
I pioneered the 16 millimeter field because I thought that was a big thing. I did Kodachrome. I was very good on Kodachrome. And I made the first pictures that to be shown in theaters with spatial 16 millimeter equipment.
Really?
Yes, I made a life story of our horse, Red Star. She played the Denton Mare and Sam Bass and Calamity Jane, and that story was written around the horse.
Yes.
And so was my pal Trigger. And she played Trigger's mother and my pal Trigger. And that's the first time Roy Rogers ever had a picture that played the Paramount Theater in Hollywood. Then I made the Tournament of Roses, the building of the floats.
Yes.
And I had the whole first reel made and the titles and everything. And then we shot the parade, the tournament, and then we had in the theater on Hollywood Boulevard in 2.5 days. And the 2 reels, I had 2
You've
reels.
had an
on.
exciting
But,
life.
well, you know, when television came in, then everybody
right.
put their projectors away.
You two wonderful people have an exciting. Francis Lederer, your first movie when you first arrived here, what
You
was
mean
it?
here?
I
the
do want-
first,
what-
the
your
first
first.
picture was called Man of Two Worlds. Yes, I played an Eskimo in that. Yeah. And you don't want to delve in the past.
Well, I do want to dive in the book. Going to get back what's new, exciting in your life, but right now I want to talk. There's a lot of young people out there would like to know about you two wonderful people. You know, this is the 100th birthday of Hollywood,
That's
and that
right,
is why
that's
I
right,
chose
that's
you
right.
two wonderful people to celebrate this wonderful 100th birthday of Hollywood.
Well, I
And who
don't
would know it more
I
than you
don't
two?
know about her, but I'm already 100, so it's very appropriate.
You two people bought, you know, you
I
own
saw
them.
him in plenty of pictures.
Yes, like what? You can help me. Like
Oh,
some
I can't remember the
Don't
titles
embarrass
of
her,
them, but
don't
he
embarrass
was
her.
a handsome,
handsome, draped,
heartthrob, believe
black.
me.
Why do,
Dracula. You were the
why do
Dracula.
people always have to talk about about me in the past tense?
How about well, we won't talk to you about the past tense, but how about talking about right now your theater? You're celebrating your anniversary at your new theater in North Hollywood that you started, a children's theater?
It's not a theater, it's a school.
A school for children.
Yes.
And acting.
No, it's not for, it is for everybody, for every age, you know, in other words, you're welcome to.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay,
oh
fine.
no,
I thought it was
the children
just,
is only a very small part.
Okay,
No,
go ahead.
it is primarily a practice ground for people, for professionals to
Yes.
practice with other professionals. And then
it's like the HPS used to be, Hollywood Professional School on Hollywood Boulevard in Western Avenue. Remember years ago? It was something
no,
like that.
I don't
Oh,
remember
no.
that, no.
I did.
It's like that, a professional school for
did,
professional people.
I did 7 years of coaching at MGM.
Yes, you did.
I coached Lana Turner and Rita Johnson and Hedy Lamarr, and I didn't coach them how to act. I coached them for the part.
For the parts, yes.
And even when we was making Gone with the Wind, Clark Gable would say to me, "Now, Amelia, which way you think I ought to do this way or that way?" And he'd show me 2 different ways, and I'd say, "Well, I'd take that one." And I felt very good when the
used
director always said, "Well, that's okay." And but Clark was a very regular, forceful man. And he only had one bad habit. He smoked all the time. He just
Was he a heavy
smoked.
smoker, huh?
Oh, and I think that's what gave him the heart trouble.
Uh-huh.
And then he started gaining a lot of weight.
So tell me about your school then. It's a professional school for...
Yes, I mean, it is, I would say it's a place where everybody can find his way to stardom, I would say,
Yes.
and to the self-development. And you would be amazed the results that we get from people.
30 years. You're celebrating.
Yes,
This is
30
his
years.
30th anniversary.
Starting
This-
1957.
57. Who are some of the famous people? You've had any famous people out of there?
Well, I tell you, that would be trying to sell the Academy short. No,
Okay.
we have to see the work, you know.
I understand.
Yes, we have some people, of course, that they've made already great careers,
Uh-huh.
but it's not that. It's just that you come to the Academy and there every day you learn new things.
Olivia de Havilland. Now, you two worked with her. You worked with her in The Ambassador's Daughter.
You
Tell
know
me,
everything.
I love her. I think she's a wonderful lady. I
That's
just
right.
adore her.
I
Well,
worked with her on Gone with
You
the
did.
Wind.
You've Gone with the Wind, yes, I said.
Yeah.
But tell me about Olivia de Havilland.
Well, I did a picture with her in Paris.
Uh-huh.
Norman Krasner directed it, and she was just sweet and professional. That's all that you can say about anybody in our profession.
Ray Milan. Oh,
That's
I
right.
liked him. Oh, so
Yes,
nice.
yes,
Is he a good man to work with?
of course.
Tell me some of the people, favorite directors you people worked with. Do you have any favorites?
Oh.
In Hollywood?
Well, I give more credit to the cameraman.
Cameraman? Oh, everybody does. Why?
Lee Garms. I used to, when
They make you look good. If you got to give them credit.
Listen, Lee Garms, Marlena Dietrich wouldn't let anybody photograph her except Lee Garms. And in fact, Lee had 2 Academy Awards.
Uh-huh.
He and James Wong Howe are the only 2 cameramen that I know of that have 2.
Uh-huh.
Of course, Lee had about many, many nominations.
Mm-hmm.
And Lee had just formed a company when about 6 months before he passed away. That was back in '76, I think.
Yes.
And that's when I bought the Faulkner stories. And
You bought them?
Oh yes, I own Dollar Cotton, which
Uh-huh.
was a big novel about that thing
Right.
by John Faulkner.
This is it, right here.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
and then I have
The bestsellers, yeah. I see.
I own My Brother Bill, which is a life story of the 4 brothers. There
Uh-huh.
was 4 brothers in that family. And personally, I think John was just as good a writer as William.
Uh-huh.
And if David O. Selznick were alive today, I would have made Dollar Cotton, but it's an expensive, it's an epic.
Yes.
And it'd take millions to make it. And if I had, but Lee died, he formed Academy Artist. And everybody in it had an Academy Award. The writers, the directors, all of them had a Academy Award. And I was the only one that didn't have an Academy Award, but Lee loved me so much that I did, oh gosh, I've done stand-in for Marlene Dietrich, and I've doubled for her. And
Kind of a lady's Dietrich to work with. She's,
well,
I
I
love her.
didn't care for her. She's very cold and very self-centered. Same with Spencer Tracy. I never
Tell
cared
me
for
why
Tracy.
you don't care for Spencer Tracy, Amelia Batchler.
Well, he's kind of a self-centered sort of a man, and I did 2 pictures with him, and Rita Johnson was in one when I was coaching her, and she went crazy about him, but I didn't care for him at all. Gable, that's another story, and the greatest guy I ever knew in pictures was Duncan Ronaldo, the Cisco Kid.
Yes, I have a picture here right now.
I
with him.
designed that outfit.
This is the picture I want to show you. Isn't this great? Isn't that wonderful,
He-
Francis?
He was
Yes.
the sweetest man.
Duncan Ronaldo. Is that,
I have never.
you designed this outfit?
He's the only man in pictures that I never heard anything but love for. And Duncan used to have a saying: if a man's word is no good, he's no good. And he lived by that. He made 156 pictures on a handshake. And next to him, Ronald Reagan.
You like Ronald Reagan?
I love him.
Okay. How about you, Francis Lederer? What do you think of Ronald Reagan?
I tell you, in our academy there's a sign.
Yeah.
No politics, please.
Yes, true. That's what he should have said. He should
No,
have.
no,
he
no.
should have
There's
remained.
no reflection on. No,
I
no,
should have
no.
remained. No
No,
politics.
but I think that actors should be very careful what they tread when it comes to politics.
Now you both live in the valley. Matter of fact, you both own the valley. I mean, you bought it in countries, and you. What part of the valley you're from?
Mulholland.
Mulholland, and you're near Brando.
Canoga
Do you own, Brando owns your property?
Huh?
Marlon Brando. You own a lot of property up there.
Oh, no, I never did any business with him.
No, I see. How about you, Francis?
John Wayne.
John Wayne.
Canoga Park.
Canola? Yes, you own that area. I know that.
But,
What do you mean, John Wayne? You've done business with John Wayne?
oh
Like
yeah, I sold him 6 acres overlooking Lake Belair.
what? I see.
And I developed 25 acres in there.
Uh-huh. That land was so cheap those days. My God. you
Cheap?
sold- It
They
was
did-
cheap.
Oh yeah, then, but they just sold a house next to me for $3.5 million.
Now, yes, now I'm talking. Now, you two people, Hollywood, is 100th birthday. Is there any big changes? Tell me about the changes, you two, real quick. Like, Francis?
No,
Go ahead,
ladies
Francis.
first. Ladies
Well,
first.
okay, I mean, real quick.
No, first of all, I want to put this straight. I loved Ronald Reagan when he was a Democrat.
You
and
loved
I-
him when he was a Democrat.
Yeah, he used to be a Harry Truman Democrat. But I love Ronald Reagan for what he is.
What is he?
He is a man that it tells you something. If he says, I'm going to do this, he'll do it. And he never lies about anything. He's so honest, and he just, he was running Warner Brothers Studio when they killed that guy out in the middle of the street there, and Earl Flynn was a fair-haired boy there, but Ronald Reagan was considered a B actor,
Yes.
and he was running the studio.
I see.
He's a very intelligent man, and he loves horses, he loves
I see.
outdoors.
Francis Lederer, Hollywood. It's birthday. What
Well,
can we say about it?
Well, I
Let's-
think that Hollywood is growing up the same way as everything else. And I.
Do you like what's happening in
Oh,
Hollywood?
yes.
Changes?
Anybody who talks about the good old days is
It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous, yes.
No, it's constantly
Change.
growing. There are such if you look even at any television thing, I think I'm always in awe at the tremendous amount of talent of directors, of writers.
Yes.
When you listen to it and actors.
So you're right. I agree. I agree with you. How about you, Amelia? You feel the
Well,
same way?
I like
You
the-
cannot go back. You gotta go. Think.
I